everybody. It's back. I don't know what we should be calling ourselves something, Michelle, because you and I keep doing this. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. Some listeners is already taken, so I don't know.
So today we're discussing. I'm with Michelle and Angie Shamley, who is a recruiter, and obviously I do this with Michelle anyway, so we always know why she's here. She's here for that extra knowledge and her kind of background in things of teaching and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michelle is the usual person that's on with me all the time, and then Angie is a recruitment agent that you work for yourself, eh? You got your own business, and she does all this. So I think it's vital that Angie's got input to things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about CVs and how we should be going about actually putting them together and you know, that kind of thing, whether we should be doing it in an informal way or more formal way, because like the way I was taught 20 odd years ago in high school on how to do a CV, it's definitely not the way it's done now. You know, and I don't think, for me, I think it was something that we touched on, I think maybe in English, you know, English class kind of thing, and this was the structure, and that's how you went and did your CV. When you left school, and there was nothing about trying to sell yourself or change your CV to suit the job that you're actually applying for. So, like for me, I used to just put everything in, and now I think these days you kind of just like, you know, pander to what you're actually looking for, so you don't put everything in. So, okay, so. How are we going to kickstart our career with the CV or a resume? I don't know. Which one is it?
Or resume, profile, CV, portfolio. It's just, let's go with CV.
CV.
So different names really for the same thing, hey? It's the document that you're going to use to sell yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to show you guys what our overview is. So to start off with, we're looking for our recruiter's perspective, and like from obviously Angie, you're going to give us an answer on this one, with what recruiters are looking for, how to stand out, what a company is looking for.
Yes. Okay. So this is something that I'm very passionate about. So when you asked me, it was something that I jumped at because this is where a lot of people fall short. Okay, you know, recruitment is probably the most demanding and most cutthroat industry there. And the most important person in the position, well, in recruitment, is the candidates. The candidates from the beginning right till the end, you need to treat their candidates with utmost respect, rather, because, you know, they can be potential clients. The CV is the first glance that you get into the candidate's soul, if I can say that. Okay. So, and it's quite sad because there's a lot of people that actually haven't had the luxury of going to school and or going to a school where they teach them these basic skills. And it's nice that you're doing this because they need to know. The CV is, as I said, what you see first. So it has to be, firstly, as a recruiter, what we look for is the quality in a CV. Okay, so the spacing, firstly, because how you sell yourself on paper is essentially how you're going to sell yourself. It shows the type of person that you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so quality. Firstly, the spacing and the formatting on a CV. It needs to be, you have to show pride in how you present yourself. And spell check. Oh my gosh, there's so many people that come and they don't do spell checks. They just send and they do whatever, and they just think that because they've sent something, it's good enough. You know, you have to take pride in who you are. It's essentially boils down to you as a person and like your, what's the word I'm looking for to describe? Your
Yeah, but I mean,
how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, your confidence and how you sell yourself.
How you sell yourself. Okay, so that's what we look for. Firstly, the quality, then the skill set. And Teens, I want to just go back to where you said that you know, back in the day we used to put everything, and now you don't. It's right and it's wrong. Okay. Obviously, the more detailed the CV, there's some clients that really like detailed CVs. So what we look for, I'm sure we'll unpack it later, but you is the skill set. Okay. And that will include absolutely everything that you've done, but there's ways to elaborate and there's ways to make it concise. Okay, so if a person's looking for a bookkeeper with someone who's got creditors, debtors, and SAP and JD Edwards, I'm just using examples, and you've used JD Edwards 20 years ago or 15 years ago, you think it's not relevant, so you just don't put it in. Big mistake. Okay, because things are automated nowadays where people, instead of going through each CV physically, they put in the keywords in their search and they put JD Edwards, and only the people that have put that in their CV will pop up.
All right.
Okay, so and we'll probably unpack this later because this has happened recently where I'll give you examples. So it's quality, it's the skill set, and it's basically the client requirements or the position requirements. And how you stand out is making your profile look good. It doesn't have to have a picture of yourself. It doesn't have to have borders. It doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles and frills. It's about the quality, the quantity, and the content. And your attention to you as an individual, showing how you portray yourself. Really, it's that. It's the quality of what you're sending out.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Do you have anything to say, Masha?
Well, one thing that kind of popped out for me is the spell checking thing. I am always surprised when doing online stuff, when working with service providers within the homeschooling industry, when working with a lot of people, I'm always astounded at the lack of checks they do when it comes to basic spelling. Like, Grammarly is free. It doesn't cost you anything to spell check your CV before you send it out. And to me, I know a lot of people would put in attention to detail, quality of work. And if you tell me attention to detail and your whole CV is full of typos, I'm like, What else is
Grammarly? It's also Word. They have the autocorrect and they've got the underlines and the blues and the reds popping up everywhere on the CV, on the document.
Exactly. It's easy to fix. It's really easy and quick fix. And the one thing I didn't realize, so kind of what I'm seeing is if you have skills in specific things, especially in niche programs and things, put the words in there. You don't have to say, for example, I have done XYZ projects inside Unity and wara. You can just say, I've worked in Unity. Just put the word Unity because that's a keyword that it's going to pick up, which makes absolute sense. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. So that brings us to getting it done. So we've already touched on a few of the things. So we're talking about getting it done. So what we were discussing is like whether you do it yourself and how do you go about it, and whether you pay for someone to do it. So like if you were going to like what exactly like using what tools you would use. How would you market yourself if you're doing it yourself? What's the long-term management benefits and ensuring the consistency, as opposed to doing a paid service where someone who's obviously knows exactly what to do and is it actually worth it in the end?
Yeah. When do you do which?
Can I tell you honestly, and I will speak from experience right now. Getting it done and doing it yourself is the best way. Learning from trial and error. There's so much that's available to us, especially with social media and Facebook and all the different recruitment groups and recruitment forums. You can easily go in as a candidate looking for an employment and say, and the recruiters, that's if you're a good recruiter, what you want to do is you really want to help. So when people come out there and the candidate, as I said, the most important person in the job says to you, listen, I'm looking for ways to best sell myself in IT or in different industries. Please, can you send me, there's so many recruiters there. Please, can you send me how you format your CV so I can do it? So they've got all of these platforms that these formats that they can use and custom make to their personality. And, they'll send it in Word, they can save it in PDF. They can go on Google, best quality CVs. You just ask Google the questions and they bring up the answers.
Yeah.
Paid services, and I will tell you now because during lockdown, I needed to get mine done for a proposal that I was doing and a tender that I was doing, and I didn't have the time to do mine professionally. And this is what I do for a living, but I really didn't have the time, and I needed it to stand out because it was a global contract. And I got I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but a company in the UK, which is Top Forward Service, apparently, who does the CV formatting and generation and whatever, making the CV look pretty for us. You know, they came back and forth so many times. Their grammar was bad. Their spelling was bad. You know, I gave them the information. They changed my information and made me look like something completely different. And I paid money up front. You know, it was terrible. I lost the money. I ended up doing it myself. And you just look, there's so much, like Canva, for instance. People can go download a free Canva account. Canva, and they've got all of these CV templates, you know, and it will not document, but it will segment every section accordingly, and you put in all your information, and it makes it look amazing, you know.
Exactly.
So there's so many tools today, free tools at a person's disposal, and all they need to do is reach out to a forum like the recruitment forum. There's hundreds of forums, and ask for someone, please, can you quality check this for me? You know, and keep doing that on a regular basis and asking if it's relevant. You know, it's all about communication and community, and the online world allows that.
So a question for you, Angie, is for me is like, so if I had to send my CV to you and I did it fairly like the kind of the way that you want it done, would you then go and change it? Because in my experience, I would send my CV through and then they'd still land up, the recruitment agents will still land up, they want an editable Word document so that they can change it.
Yeah, so what would happen is you'd send me you send it to me as a company or as a recruiter?
No, like me as an individual.
Okay, well, you'll send it to me. Applying for a job, the reason I'm asking this is because there's different scenarios.
Yeah, so like if I was like sending you my CV so that I could try and find a job or whatever, and
from a recruitment perspective, I would send your CV. I wouldn't change it. I would obviously convert it to Word. I'd ask you to send it to me in Word, and I would just change it to third person. I do not change anything on a CV unless there's some information that's missing that you haven't highlighted in your CV. Because how I believe in the arrangement that I've got with my clients is that you can judge a person from the CV, and this is what you're going to get. So that's the first glance. As mentioned before, this is what you're going to get, and you'll see from the first submission from CV. So that's what I do. Recruitment companies, I'm not sure the percentage, but a high percentage of them, because especially the larger recruitment companies, they do have a specialized format, you know, where you have your certain information in certain areas and you've got to break things down. So they do change it, but they use your CV and they do it at their cost. It's nothing to you. It's their systems and their processes, So it has nothing to do with you. It's just the way they do things.
Something I did want to mention is I love the fact that you mentioned Canva. I think it comes down to if a person is resourceful, if you honestly want to put the best foot forward, if you're not happy with just the quick slapdash, my second grade brother helped me do it in Word situation, you can find the resources that you need. You can find the information that you need by watching 2 YouTube videos or whatever. Just using the internet, go to a library, use it for free, and get the information and do it. Because I designed my husband's CV in Canva, and I used one of their templates, and it looks amazing. I didn't add a photo. I kept it simple, just a few little splashes of blue, a few graphs, and it works. It does the job. It does what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And I just want to pinpoint there, and it's so relevant, especially today and now in today's times, in the current world of work, and us being like knee deep, even like drowning in the fourth industrial revolution, probably close to coming to the next industrial revolution. We are evolving so hectically and so at such a rapid pace that people need to make themselves relevant. Be you a clerk, be you a tech person, we have got all of these resources. Tech is us. Tech is what we are. This is our world, so people need to use it, and I think, and it makes them relevant, you know. And you have to stick with the times. You can't be back in the old school kind of mindset, and it's just the reality.
Yeah. A lot of folks, unfortunately, have become kind of complacent in the sense of, oh, I'll get it. I'll just by merely existing, I deserve things. And I'm sorry, but unfortunately, that is not the case, and we have to work for what we get.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, you have to better yourself. You have to constantly be bettering yourself. If you
Yeah.
don't know how to use something, you figure it out. You can't say, "Oh, sorry, I don't know how to use Word,"
Yeah.
or "I'm sorry, I don't know how to use YouTube, or Facebook, or whatever." Like, you need to figure it out.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Get a second opinion, a mentor, friend, professionals, somebody who has expertise in something. I think from now on, I'll be running my stuff past Angie.
No problem.
But you know what I mean, and recruitment, anyone that and for someone to actually like, if you've done it, I mean, like we say, if you any of the software that you use, Canva, Google Docs or Word, I use Affinity, they all come up saying this, you need to spell check. It gives you all sorts of weird things to tell you how to spell check. But if you miss it, at least hand your stuff over, because also I think one of the other things is like, for me, I am terrible at selling myself.
Yes.
So I will put down certain things, and then like that, we did it with Prav the other day, where we were looking at doing like a profile for me on Fiverr, and he was like, "But you're good at this and this and this and this and this, which you need to put on there as well." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, I think it might be a little bit irrelevant, but he's saying no, but it's not. So
Everything's
I think
relevant.
that's why it's like important to then also get somebody else to look at it, because especially someone that knows you and knows that you've actually got a whole lot of other skill sets that could possibly help you. Like, I always say I'm a jack of all trades and a master at one. Because I am a master at one. I have a trade qualification. So but like, sometimes I feel like some of my skill sets is irrelevant for what I should be putting on my CV, but I actually have a whole lot of skill set that probably is actually not irrelevant. But because because it's not part of my job description, I feel like it's irrelevant.
No,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So
relevant.
that's why I think it's important to get other people's opinions as well.
Absolutely.
What's your take on that?
No, everything is relevant, and getting people's opinions. I totally get that. You do, your friends. You've got friends at executive level. You've got people know people, like business owners and recruitment industry, recruiters, industry. Like, as you say, everything there. People, your mentors, coaches. You just ask for their opinion. Everyone's going to give you something else, and that's input that you didn't think of. But I just want to just go back to where you say relevance. Everything is relevant. I'll never forget when I first got my training, when I worked at CR Solutions. That's where I started my career. And the CVs, we literally had to type CVs back in the day. Because, I mean, I'm back in the day when we didn't have emails. We used to get applications via the newspaper. I mean, hello. That's how long I've been in recruitment. But we used to literally type the CVs, and everything. And our training was, from the moment you walked into that door, like, tell me about the coffee. I'm not going to add making coffee, like in your, like, if it was, I'm not going to do that. But I want you organize the filing, you attended to the messages on the answering machine. You did it. Everything is relevant, because you never know what someone's looking for. Every IT or tech or software package you've worked on, relevant. Doesn't matter if it's many moons ago. You know what? That's why the detailed CV and concise CV is always there, but that goes under your skills. You've got your skills matrix and you've got your tech matrix, and then you put that there. You don't have to elaborate everything in your actual key performance areas. You just put them in your skill set. So it's there. So everything is absolutely relevant. You miss out on nothing because you don't know what a company is looking for.
And how relevant is so I'm just thinking about it now. How relevant is it putting stuff that you would do socially, like your hobbies and stuff like that? I remember that being in CVs. Like, you had to list your hobbies and all that. Like, I'm like, how relevant putting that kind of stuff in? It's like, do you know when I say, like, you if you're going to do a CV, so I know, like, so you put everything in, but if you're applying for a specific kind of position, you would kind of actually bring to the forefront whatever it is that's needed for that specific position, as opposed to highlighting everything. Am I right? You would actually, like, kind of change your CV up to be more towards whatever that position might be, even though you still probably list everything else, but more like briefly rather.
Well, you can do that. And with regards to skills, I want to first go there, your skills and your hobbies. It is relevant to a point because you'll get companies, for example, a Christian company that only wants to deal with or work with Christians. You're a sporty person who's fit, a person who does yoga every day, because what they do at the company is they have a morning session doing yoga and meditation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I've seen that happen. It's not as important as the skill set and your obviously your IT skills, etc. But it is something nice to put there under like your achievements. Your interests and hobbies, because some companies look at that, oh, this person's an academic and they like to study once a year, etc., etc. So I think it is important. And with regards to making your CV relevant per position, yes, you go to a job spec or an ad that you've seen, and you see exactly what what they're looking for, the essentials, and that goes in your cover notes on the CV. You don't add on. Well, I prefer not to. It's my opinion, and the way I work is I don't add it on the email in the body, because people don't generally read the email. They go straight into the document. And you say, my application for said position, the reason why I think I'd fit in, you're looking for such, and this is where my experience comes at these companies, especially at, say, at Fashini or whatever, I did this. At TF, at Edgar's, I did this, etc. And then afterwards, then you have your CV at the bottom, like your general CV. But you've made attention to whoever is recruiting for this position as to why you would fit the role. So already you've got their attention in the beginning. You wanted this, and this is why I matched that.
You see, for me, that's very different to school days, because you didn't do that. You didn't put a covering section, saying that kind of thing, to try and highlight yourself.
No, that's just nowadays. When I started in recruitment back in the day, we literally used to break down every single job. Yeah. So now this person's got 5 jobs, and in a job, as a recruiter, I do admin, I do sales, I do account management, I do finance, whatever. So I'd say now I've got 6. So I've got 6 areas, and under each area, I further break down absolutely everything I did. So your CV went from pages, and you'd be hours in an interview trying to do this interview. But I mean, it's some companies want that. So that's why I always say, have your concise and then have your detail for the old school people, because there are old school people out there still.
But it makes sense having 2 CVs, having a more condensed one and having more of it. Because I also think, for example, the new up and coming companies that want fresh blood, that want fresh ideas, that want whatever, like, they are possibly more inclined to read through a quick and easy, hard-hitting CV than something that is really detailed and whatever, because it's about efficiency.
Completely. It's about efficiency and getting to the point. Like, seriously, oh my gosh, some people see these things and they're, I'm bored already, and they just bypass it. So it's just, it depends on the company.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on. So fit for purpose, personality, like we're saying, talk in your interview, the way you would describe yourself on your CV.
I understand what you're saying. You have fit for purpose. You have to talk in the interview the way you describe yourself in your CV, and match quality of your CV to your work experience. I disagree with that 100%, because a CV is a form of information, not communication. A CV is just, it's a little bit of it's there just to show your skill set. What happens, the magic happens in the interview. And I understand that confidence, like you say, you have a lack of confidence, and that comes with practice, and that's why you always, when people, I used to do briefings for my candidates, especially the juniors who just came out of school, and they were interviewing for big, massive call centers like Discovery and MTN, and they were nervous. And I used to give them interviewing tips, and it really helped them. And it's just about knowing what you are, and answering the questions, and just putting yourself in that position where you've been in that, and you answer in like how you've dealt with it. And then all of a sudden, but it does take practice, and you have to have a certain level of confidence. But a person can see through your discomfort, in the sense that, oh my gosh, I'm a bit nervous and I don't know how to portray myself. A real company can see that, because they just see your personality and your essence. I don't know how to explain it, because it's about the person and what's inside, and it's about It really is. You can employ a person with skill, but they can be, and they can. It's just what's the word I'm talking about? What's the word I'm trying to use?
Their personality, but
it is their personality. It is that the CV can sell you. Like you can get a brilliant CV. I've had brilliant CVs come across my desk, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person is amazing. And then they interview completely differently. They're like nothing compared to their CV. The CV is yes there, and it's going to get you the interview. So you have to make it look good.
Yeah.
But once you're in the interview, 9 out of 10 people throw the CV away.
No, absolutely. It's about your personality. Because for me, the one thing that I was wondering about now, right, is I know a lot of younger folks, especially having worked with my cottage school with kids going out of matric, leaving school, going into the workplace now. They have to present themselves, and a lot of them went into creative fields like 3D printing, design, that type of thing. So they would have more funky, like colorful CVs and pops of color and whatever. Like I kind of think that if you're going to have a CV like that, if you're going to have something super funky and you rock up for the interview and you are such a boring person that they want to fall asleep in the interview, like that is not a career, you know? So like kind of to a point, So to a point, I do agree with have your CV kind of also not have your whole CV all like corporate blue and super streamlined and very professional, and then you rock up there in a top hat and sneakers, like, you know, tailor the CV kind of to who you are. And
okay, so from that artistic point of view, I totally get you, because generally when people have these funky CVs, I'm so excited to phone them, and touch wood, I've never had a boring person with an exciting TV. Never.
That's wonderful to know. That's awesome.
I'm just touching.
The other thing that I wanted to touch on was the whole selling yourself thing. I'm what they call an introverted extrovert. I love people. I love talking to people, but I also need to recharge after talking to people. Like I can't constantly, when I'm hosting whole day workshops and stuff, halfway through I have to go find a dark corner because I need to unpeople for a few minutes.
People.
because I need that recharge. So the whole thing of presenting yourself and having that confidence, and I used to be the quiet girl with the pigtails in the back of the class reading a book. I was petrified. Grade 6, I remember being petrified of giving a speech in front of the class. Now I'm hosting workshops and stuff, no issue. I'm doing videos, no issue. I'm doing group mentorship programs, no issue. Because I've pushed myself out of my comfort zone. And I think that's important, is if you are not confident with video, if you hate the sound of your own voice, there's all science behind that, but anyway, do more video. They're going to be terrible, but do them until they look good. And send voice notes to your granny and like get over it, because it's like it takes practice, it takes time, and to stay stuck in that is going to limit you. To stay stuck in, oh, but I can't because I'm too shy, or because I don't know this or whatever. Like push yourself out of that, because it's going to allow you to grow a lot.
Yeah, and especially with the rates of unemployment nowadays, you really have to get yourself out of it. You know, it's hectic. You touched on the video. I hated videos, hated them. Now my marketing strategy is videos to reach talent.
Exactly.
I've got one of these bad boys. Even one of those. I'm like, I've even got one of those.
Check my glasses, it reflects.
I'm one of you guys now.
We're content creators. That's good though, because I mean, you learn a lot on the go, on the fly. This is how you learn. It's just by doing.
That's what we've been doing. Hey,
exactly.
That's what we've been doing. So because this is just our last section, and then we're going to talk about how to create your CV, but just also with making your CV editable. So like, Angie, what would you say is preferred? A PDF, Word, Google Open Document, or a web portfolio? I think the web portfolio is dependent on your skill set. So for me, the web portfolio would be more for somebody who's a designer, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Because you need a portfolio. Even though I totally don't, I don't believe in portfolios. I'm a graphic designer. I don't believe in portfolios because. So the reason why I don't believe in them is that I qualified. I did 3 years apprenticeship. in the workplace, my exams, everything, and I qualified. And as a junior, the company I was working at, they liquidated and reopened. They were being schmuggles, and they basically retrenched all the qualified, experienced people, and they kept on all the juniors because we were cheap. And yeah, and but at some point they started re-employing, but they were trying to re-employ more juniors, and my boss at the time, he would get all these fantastic, brilliant CVs and then employ someone according to the CV and how the interview went. And when it came to the crunch, they actually didn't know how to do the job. So they'd have these beautiful portfolios that they had done at college and stuff like that. And then when it came to the crunch, they actually didn't know how to do the job. It got so bad that I said to him, it needs to, in our industry, you actually need to have a test. So what we ended up doing is I created a very simple, as a junior, I created a test to try and employ new people. And people who had these fantastic portfolios, when we gave them the test, couldn't do the test. And it was basic stuff. Like they just couldn't. They said they had experience. At the time, I did my, I can set up books and publications and stuff like that. And I used to use Quark. I don't think it's that popular anymore, but you had to be able to work in Quark. And people, they would say no, they didn't even know how to draw a line or a block. And I'll never forget someone coming in, sitting down, looking at the computer, staring at it, and about half an hour later saying they needed to go and have a smoke, went downstairs, had a smoke, and never came back. Because they said they could do it, but they couldn't actually do it. Wow. So I don't believe in portfolios because people you have access to so much over the internet. I can go get whatever without a watermark. I know how to get these things without watermarks and say it's mine. You can't even, how do you prove that it's yours? So for me, I don't believe in portfolios, but I do know that as a graphic designer, web designer, any of that kind of creative stuff, they're hell-bent on seeing a portfolio. They want to see. For me, give me a test. I'll do the test for you. You can see I can do the work. I'd rather do that than you know what I mean? I'll rather do that for you than give you a portfolio of beautiful pictures that I might not necessarily have done it. And they might actually belong to somebody else. So, but I get that that's what the web portfolio is. I don't have one. I actually probably should have one. Maybe at some point I'll develop one. But as a recruiter, what would you prefer? You'd prefer open Word documents, hey, as opposed to a PDF.
With regards to, let's just start with the web portfolio. Companies are moving away from that. As you say, it's so easy to make a portfolio look pretty, etc., and find stuff on the internet. It just happens. So what people are looking at now, especially in the tech space, are like the Git and GitHub accounts. So whatever work they've done, I don't know how it works because I'm not a tech person. I'm just a tech recruiter. But there's ways that you do your coding and your different stack and stuff like that. And they give examples of theirs specifically. So it hones in on that skill. So they don't look at the beautiful portfolios. A person who's in tech will go and like log themselves or register themselves and get it's a whole tech world out there. Yes. So they do that. Okay, so that's what people look at now. So they need to make sure that that's up to date. There might be some old school companies that want the web portfolio, but the people that I'm dealing with, they don't look at the web portfolios. We submit the people with their Git and their GitHub stuff on the CV, and then they send a test immediately. So the tests are there. Yeah. So that's what happens. That's generally what happens now with the clients that I'm working with. And yes, for people that are going to the companies directly, I would say a PDF, JPEG, or PNG file, make it all nice, So it's sent there, it's readable, it's pretty, sent there, nothing can happen to it through the World Wide Web. Okay. obviously sometimes Word, depending if you've done it on your Google Docs or whichever
Yeah.
Word platform you've done it, it like distorts your CV and the Word and the text and stuff. So don't do that. For a recruiter, I would prefer that. Send me your original, but also send me an editable, not edible, editable CV, because I like to add stuff that people miss.
Yes.
You know, from my point of view, and put my logo there. I never, as mentioned before, don't change the content. I just
Yes.
brand it as mine. So that's basically it. Well, I get permission. It's you, but it's I've sent you. Believe Resourcing has sent you. So my logo needs to be there.
Yes, yes. You're the referral, but it's also I think a stamp of approval, kind of like it's not just somebody that came off the side of the street. It is through it's through you. It's that whole I mean, you've got a proven track record. Companies trust you, social proof, all that jazz. So your logo on the CV makes it more valuable.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, so let's keep moving on. So our next thing is on creating. Our next thing is creating your CV. So like using templates, picking the right tools, your compatibility. I think we've touched on a lot of this anyway. You know, proofreading and your reusability. I just want to.
Can we just go back to that where it says compatibility? That is such a broad term. But compatibility, when people, I just want to highlight, I hope that this reaches, but you know, there's so many people, and I understand the desperation for work. There's so many people out there that are applying for jobs that they're not qualified to do and they're not compatible at all. And I understand, and please believe me, companies understand that there's a demand for work and jobs and employment. But it just makes it so much. It just makes it. I don't know. They just don't do it. If you are a person who has like, I'll get people who I'm looking for full stack developers. Or wait, it's engineers. When I put the engineer there, but it's a system engineer with all of these different stacks. I get mechanical engineers that are sending their CVs. You know, read the ad. Make sure that you know that you've got some skill set. I understand that if you fall short somewhere, that's fine. But if you completely don't mismatch, it's something that shouldn't be done, because
you're wasting everyone's time.
You're wasting everyone's time, but you're also wasting your time, and you're also tainting your name in the industry. You know, you like, can this person, do they understand? What can they read? You know, and if these are the thoughts that go through your head, I understand that there's desperation, but don't do that to yourself, because you're hurting yourself in the end.
Yeah, and people can smell desperation, hey? Like, I think it's become such a thing. People know if you're desperate, and desperation is not something I want to hire or want to work with or want to encourage.
It's sad. It is, and there's a place for everyone out there. Just, you know, patience and just believing and just persevering.
And look for the right thing. Find the right
thing.
thing. Put the word out there. Tell folks, tell family, tell friends. Hey, listen, I'm looking for XYZ. And you don't know, your best friend's uncle's stepson might know somebody that has the perfect job for you.
I mean,
they wouldn't know that you're looking.
Like when they have those boards on the road, people that are highly paid professionals that couldn't find work, and then they're on the road, you know, with their qualified beats, blah, 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 blah. And they found jobs, and LinkedIn, it's like goes viral. Okay, anyway, we're off the topic, but that's what I'm saying. sorry.
It's all good.
I think it comes back to the whole compatibility thing. Okay, the templates. Are we going to talk about the templates?
So we're going to just talk about templates. So one of the things that you can do is we're going to show you just how to get. So if you've got a Gmail account, you have access to Google Docs. Okay, and you just need to go over here to Google Docs, click on it, and you then just go to your template gallery
library.
And it brings up a whole bunch of different kinds of resumes that you can pick from. And so, I mean, really, if you don't need expertise to be able to do this. For me, I'm going to show you another way I do it, but that's only because I come from a graphic design. And I prefer, you know, I have done a CV in Word because Google Docs, Word, pretty much the same. And it kind of just gives you everything that you kind of need to do. So it's not even...
Yeah, and it's already formatted. It's already bolded.
It's
already
formatted. You just have to literally change, put your name in, put your address in, change it, list everything in. And it's super, super easy to use. And I think this is kind of how you'd want it. Pretty much simple, looks good. And obviously it has the spell check. If you're going to misspell something, it's going to say it's misspelled. And you'll be able to save it as a PDF, save it as a JPEG, like export it out. I think it does export as a PDF and everything else if you needed to save it as a PDF. And then, like for me, I use Affinity Design. So also with this, so for Prav, he insisted on he wanted his CV to look different. So this is what we landed up doing for him, and he was quite happy with this. He wanted the red because it's out there.
That's dynamic.
You know what I mean? It's out there, and we literally went with three colors: black, gray, or gray. No, two colors: red and black, basically. And this is his 2-pager. Yeah, this is his 2-pager that we did, and he just kind of condensed things as much as we could. And let's see if I can just make it a little bit bigger.
You can also do this in Canva. So Canva also has similar templates.
So I haven't, you know what I mean? So it's got everything, you know what I mean? And he's gone and done everything specifically as a 2-pager. And I think obviously this works quite well
it's lovely,
So he only had his last 3 jobs. He didn't have everything else on his 2-pager. He kept it to the most recent positions, and then obviously his qualifications, and then obviously for whatever, like you say, for the people that want
a long thing.
You don't have to have all of the experience, but what I can is got a really good all the positions. People generally look back 10 years. That's the general rule of thumb. And prior to 10 years, you put like literally a one-liner.
Yes.
From 2000 to 2011, Angie worked or I worked at these. Well, CR Solutions as this is. There's no duties. It's just literally like 2 or 3 sentences. Like just consult. You need to put all years, account for all years.
Yeah, I think also what is also a difference is it depends on how many jobs you've had in your career. Like for me, I actually haven't had that. I haven't worked at that many places. So I have worked at places for long periods of time. And in between there have had my own business and back to having my own business now. So so like with, I don't actually, Prof's got a few things, but you can see this one's like the long extended one he felt that this would work for him and it would make him stand out. But this also would be like more of a professional look on it. And with Prav being a writer, he could write his own stuff. I think that's basically, I think in general, people are going to go with, the free route, obviously, and doing their own thing. But if they wanted to create a template in Affinity so that, like, if someone asked us to do a CV for them, I've got a template and I can just do it for them that way. If they want a specific design, you know what I mean, to stand out. But like picking the right tool. So like we're saying, like picking exactly, should it be Word document or using Canva or
Affinity
I've never used Canva. Mache she's been in Canva forever. Yeah, Mache's even doing tutorials on Canva. So
awesome. I'm going to come to you if I need pointers, okay?
Totally. That's fun.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's just move on to like the next steps after, your best practices, the length of your resume.
Yeah, we've covered.
Should you put that photo in? I feel like sometimes but I've had requests to have send a photo. Like, why do you want to see what I look like?
Exactly. It's not about what you look like. And also people have LinkedIn. Go and have a look at me on LinkedIn. You're going to stalk me anyway. Go stalk me on LinkedIn. Go
Here's
stalk me
a
on my
link.
Facebook.
You want to go stalk? It's my link.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, like, seriously, don't put a photo. You can if you want to, but sometimes the photo. No. When I did my course a couple of years ago, we did the business management course specific to the recruitment industry. Photos are really not necessarily, and they're really frowned upon generally 90% of the time.
Okay.
I feel it very much like estate agency feel. Because it's the only industry I know that insists on putting their face on everything.
But I think it could also actually detract from something. For example, if I'm applying to a job and the person that is reading the CV love everything in it, but they see the photo, I've got a nose ring. They don't like that. I'm not going to get the, I'm possibly not even going to get the interview because they see the nose ring and they haven't even met. So it could actually be a bad thing.
It is a bad thing. And I can tell you from experience, and this is because if you want to put a photo on, you know what, that's your prerogative, put a photo on, but please make sure it's a professional photo. I've had people, not only just with the nose ring, but you know what, nowadays, depending on also the industry, some tech companies don't mind the tattoos and the nose rings, that's fine, but that's an interview stage where you can actually, not interview stage, but you can show that off later. However, I've had people that don't know what professional is, and literally I've had girls send TVs with basically everything being revealed.
I know.
Be on a teasers advert or really honestly. So please, you need to just a professional photo. Google professional photo if you don't know what it is. But, seriously, like it's photos that can, as you said, Michelle, it can totally lose you the job completely.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, I think that falls under your best practices of like, and and obviously now we've come to the realization, actually don't put a damn photo in the first place.
Well, when you do
I've been requested previously to actually send in a photo, and I'm like, but why? But anyway, because I feel like it could be discrimination.
Maybe have a few professional photos. Possibly do a photo shoot if you can't afford a photo shoot. Take one with your cell phone. There's tutorials online. Literally YouTube it, or get your uncle to take a few photos at the next family gathering, posing with bushes. But just take a change of clothes, look decent, do the thing. But okay, no, I agree. Don't shoot yourself in the foot.
And then obviously proofreading, we have spoken a lot about the proofreading and the grammar and all of that kind of stuff. And so Michelle and I were talking about how important it is to actually have someone else check your stuff. Me as a graphic designer, as someone who used to do a lot of graphic design, business cards and all that kind of stuff. Like I was once at a company that insisted that I check myself, and then so the only other person that saw the artwork was the customer, who generally didn't check it because they just kind of looked at it and said, "Oh, it's great." And didn't actually read through it, check it properly or anything like that. So if there was a spelling mistake of some sort or some minor thing, then it would fall on me. And then I would be the one that would land up getting into trouble because they're having to reprint, because then they only see it once they've printed it. And they've printed 1,000 business cards, and there's one digit incorrect on the phone number or something like that. And so it's vital that somebody else check your stuff, because you are looking at your stuff. So for me, as a graphic designer and as a designer point of view, it is imperative that you get a content creator, a recruiter, anybody who knows how to spell and read. Get them to look at your stuff, because you look at your stuff and you see it and you see it and you see it, and you eventually
become numb to it.
You don't. Especially the minor stuff, you don't really see it.
You don't see it.
And also, my husband's gonna freak when I say this. Print it out. I kid you not, because you can look at it on the screen and you go, everything's great. And the minute you print it out, you will pick it up.
Yes,
pick
it's
it
the
up
truth. Oh my gosh, it's the truth. It's the truth.
I love
Print it
this. Okay,
out.
I think we're like secretly besties because I do the same thing. Like, it's okay, darling. It's okay. He's also it's the printer because this printer stands on his work desk and he works from home. And when it prints, it shakes the screen and it gives him such a headache. So I have to time my stuff so I print after hours. So I don't bother him. But I prefer to like check through my stuff when I'm putting the baby in bed for a nap. I'll sit there with my stuff and read through it and be like, oh snaps. And I always make a point of whenever I bring out a workbook or whatever for a workshop, or like I will give it away for free to one of my friends, and I'm like, listen, you're gonna attend for free. Just please check the workbook spelling for me, check the formatting, check that everything's in place.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather give away a free copy or whatever, and know that it's been checked than have. And I mean, I'm blessing somebody that couldn't possibly attend some other way. So I see it as like a double whammy thing. But they'll let me know if there's something wrong with it.
Yes.
So because you look through the thing, this happens with me frequently with workbooks. You're looking at that thing for so
All the
long.
time. Exactly. And you
You become
see
numb
it.
to it. You don't see the
get,
obvious.
yeah.
And it's not going to be major things. It's minor things like
cool.
grammar,
Yeah.
a number incorrect or missing or a full stop here or whatever. That kind of stuff where it's missing or whatever, but you honestly don't see it on the screen. And print it out. I can't even, and I can tell you now, he's gonna, what do you mean print it out? Because he wants everything on tech. But you see it, because that, I know that for a fact because of having done jobs previously where I didn't pick it up, the customer didn't pick it up, but they picked it up only once it had been printed. So when there was 1,000 business cards gone out, then it has to be redone because only then did they pick it up because it now was a tangible
in your
item.
hands. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, like,
important.
yeah, print it out so that you can read through it. I think it's very, very important. And
it's only a CV, so it's only 2 pages. So
use it as journal paper for the kids afterwards. You know,
exactly.
it's still being used. You know, like I'm totally justifying it, but yeah, print it out.
Okay. So just we've got 2 more topics, I think. Yeah. Okay. So we're on 2 more topics. We were talking about leveling up on your CV and obviously things like that. So emphasis on your brand. Obviously, you are the brand.
Yeah.
Like you say, you're the shop front. You're the shop window. That's what your CV is, your shop window, and that's why it needs to be professional. If you can't get it professionally done, try and be as professional as possible, I think. Show your talents. You see, I can show my talents, but I don't know if my talents are relevant.
I want to just use this example that I spoke about earlier. I was recruiting for Dubai and for the UK and for Africa. And literally, I've got an automated system that helps me with so much, but there's so much for one person to go through. So I go through and I personalize everything because I believe that the human touch still has to be able to tech. So I literally go through every application. And this candidate, he had the pretty CV, the nice, beautiful CV, and I was like, oh, he's divine. But then his skill set, because we're looking for a complete different tech stack, didn't state anything. And as a recruiter, I should have phoned. I should have actually phoned and unpacked his CV, but because of the bulk and the demand, I had to get through the CVs as fast as possible. And he just put their web design. So I sent a regret, as I do, saying, unfortunately, you don't make the blah, blah, blah. He actually phoned me and he called me on it. At the end of the day, I could have been in the wrong, but because I told him this is what was missing from his CV, I was the person who's like, oh, Angie, you've actually taught me a lot. And I thought to myself, no, I actually did my job incorrectly. I should have unpacked it. But not everyone is like me that will go through the CV. And instead of saying web design, I was looking for people with C#, with JavaScript, React, Angular, like all these words, but he just said web design. He didn't highlight any of his stats. It is important to put every single skill set, especially in tech nowadays. You need to put every item in because I'm sorry, they're doing renovations in my building. You never know what opportunity you're going to miss, especially with automated systems. Please guys, automated systems are so important. You'll be eliminated if the skill's not there.
Yeah. So state everything.
Yeah. So like showing your talents. IT, they can show graphs, or preview capabilities. Developers can show their UX. Designers can share their portfolios. Teachers can share their experience kind of thing.
Yes.
So to focus on their talents, and then your adaptability and standing out without looking glamorous.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing is don't be flamboyant, don't be over the top, don't add pink flamingos to your freaking CV. If you're a pool cleaner, like stick to what's needed to get the job done. Don't add too many, like also stick to like certain fonts. Don't add in 10 different fonts. Like don't look desperate, I think, is what we want to do. And also with the adaptability, I just want to say I think it's important. Lifelong learning is a thing, and I work with lots of moms, and I know a lot of moms feel like they're stuck in just being a mom. Like I'm just the snack getter. I'm just the continue learning. If you're interested in, I don't know, design, go learn more about design, enroll yourself in a course. There's free courses through universities like Harvard that you can literally do online. Like there's no excuse to not be learning, and show that, oh, okay, there's this new thing up and coming, this new social media platform or whatever. Learn about it, go and figure it out, because that might be something that you have over a different candidate applying for the same job.
And document it. For sure. And also when it comes to the formats and stuff like that and fonts, generally rule of thumb, it's like, black is very professional, the font color, and font size 11. That is globally and like rule of everything. Font 11 is the professional font size. Okay. So, and obviously you highlight it to like 1 or 2 font size for your different headings, or you just do your heading 1, 2, and 3 in a Word document, and it sizes it accordingly. But 11 is the professional font size.
So I'm just gonna say as the designer. So font size 11 in Times and font size 11 in an Arial font, 2 different sizes.
And use time. We didn't even be speaking about Times. That is so last century. Time should be left behind. Please don't ever compare Times. Times is not the font that we use.
So what I'm saying is that even though your font size is saying it's that, so like if you got, so why I'm saying that is because like for me, I know you don't want to use Times, and I know it's old, okay, but it's it's readable, it's legible. You can, and if you need to put in more copy, but you need it in less space, Times is what you use, because it's a smaller, even though you're using size 11, it is actually a smaller. It's actually it's a smaller font, so you will be able to get more in. Okay.
You can use your Times, but just starting to Cleveland Arial. Those are cool.
Arial. You see, now I will say the same thing about Arial, because I think that's the most awful font on the planet.
It's not the most awful. We're going to debate about fonts now.
No. It's awful.
I like Moonlight, if that counts.
Okay, but what I am going to say, rather use a nice, something that looks professional. You use nice fonts like Century Gothic, Palantino, I'm trying to think of
something. What's the funky cartoony one? Don't use that.
A serif or a sans serif, stock standard. Don't go for things like Comic Sans or
that's the one.
Or wingdings.
Those are well, you can't read wingdings. So but just use like good old. I know it's It really doesn't matter if you use an old-fashioned font like Arial or Times, but they are legible.
Yeah, just like go wild with the comic.
And you can do the usual things of making it bold and bold italic or italic.
Yeah.
You can do those things to enhance things with those fonts. To use like all these like out there fonts that are actually more for honestly, not even for advertising. But if you want to do it for something specific,
stuff. Like don't use the birthday invite fonts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
no,
so I mean, if you're gonna pick a font, that is legible. But again, if you've used a template, just stick to whatever the font is
on the template.
Exactly. Be efficient. Don't reinvent things.
Angie, if we want to get hold of you for advice on everything else that we need on CVs and recruitment, and if we want you to help us find a job, how do we get hold of you, my friend?
Well, you can follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn and at www.believeresourcing.com, as in believe I can fly, believe resourcing, one word.com. And please reach out. What I just want to say is that you need to reach out if you just want some opinion on your resume, your CV. I'm happy to give you opinion and send you some templates that you can work through and then proofread it afterwards. No charge. I'll tell you about the formatting, tell you what to do, what I recommend, and yeah, I'm happy to do that. No problem.
That's so cool.
Awesome. Because obviously, we want to help people grow and get something.
Absolutely.
And Mache.
Yeah.
We do our own thing. That's the thing. We do our own thing.
The thing is, I'm on different places, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm what do you call me, multi-passionate. So you can find me on Twitch as Mrs. Hooster, zeros instead of O's. You can find me on Facebook, my personal account, Mache Marburg, M-A-C-H-E with a little stripy thing on top. And you can also find my homeschool mentorship thing on Instagram and Facebook and a whole bunch of other places as Paper Mache Sparrows. Everything one word, no apostrophes, no nothing. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
And if you want someone to read your stuff for you, she will do it. She's a teacher. She knows exactly what she's talking about.
I'm probably gonna send you some stuff to go study up on and things. But also, if you didn't finish matric and stuff, come chat to me because I might be able to put you in touch with folks that could help you finish up your matric in a way that's not going to take you 5 years. So efficiency.
Cool. Thank you, ladies, for joining me and for giving all this valuable advice.